the History Channel original podcast, History This Week, March 29th, 1923. I'm Alana Casanova Burgess. The bright Kurfürstendamm Theater is full of well-dressed people from Berlin. The theater is new, and so is the play. Well, it is new for this German audience, at least. It has been popular on stages across Europe and the US for 2 years now. The lights go down, and the curtains open on two actors in a familiar scene. A boss and his secretary in an office. The executive, who is powerful and important enough to have a private secretary, leans back in his chair and says, "Take a letter," and starts dictating something that gives the audience all the information they need to understand the story. This is what Professor Dennis Jurers, who has been teaching this play in his English and media classes for years, explains. He says this would have been a common idea, an office comedy. But this version has a twist. The boss, Harry, speaks a long letter, helping the audience understand what is happening. But while Harry keeps talking, the secretary, Sula, is acting a little strange. She is sitting at a typewriter, still and calm, not moving, just listening to the boss. The audience starts to wonder, why is she not typing? She is missing everything. He is saying, "Is something wrong with Sula?" Harry finishes his whole letter. Then, in just a few seconds, she quickly types the entire letter, pulls out the paper, and says, "Finished. Next letter." The letter is perfect. No mistakes, no missing words. All done in seconds. Because even though she looks human, Sula, and many other characters like her are not human. The play is called Rossum's Universal Robots. In this version, they changed the name from the original Czech title, Rossum's Universal Robots, or RUR for short. The main name in the title is not very important, but another word in the title is very important. When I was studying technology, in American drama, all the research I saw had a small note about this unusual play called RUR. The note always said, "This is where the word robot comes from." The word robot was created for this play. The German version, shown tonight in this Berlin theater, is groundbreaking in many ways. The modern set design is the first big work of an important 20th century architect. The show also uses film projection in ways no play had done before. But RUR's lasting impact, and the thing that interests audiences around the world, is this new word that had never been used before. Robot. A human-like machine with its own control, able to think and act on its own. And as the boss, Harry will soon learn, able to become violent. Today, robots become very popular and create a new idea of the future. How did RUR help create rules that still guide technology today? And has this invention turned against its creator? The writer of RUR, Karel Čapek, was born in 1890 and grew up in the mountains of Bohemia, in what is now the Czech Republic. From a young age, he learned about the human body. His father was a doctor. He traveled around helping people, and young Karel went with him and learned how science can help people. His mother loved stories and told him many fairy tales. By age 24, Čapek was a young writer becoming known in Czech literature. He worked with his brother, Joseph. You can see the fairy tale ideas in their early works. They wrote illustrated stories about puppies and kittens that were as popular in their country as Paddington Bear in England or Mickey Mouse in America. He was not the kind of writer you would expect to write about a dark robot uprising, but Professor Jurers says there were signs. The animal characters were playful, but also made fun of human habits, like following rules and dealing with bureaucracy. Bureaucracy may seem like a strange topic for children's stories, but Čapek and Czech society were deeply affected by industrialization and the systems that came with it. In the mid-1800s, serfdom ended in Czech regions. In just one generation, many workers moved from farms to factories and offices. People were happy to leave the old system, but the new work felt strange. It felt far from nature, even empty. Then, in 1914, World War I began. Čapek did not fight because of health reasons, but all of Europe saw the horror of modern war machines. All these changes, from forced labor to factories to war, influenced the Czech mindset in 1920 when Čapek and his brother began writing their science fiction play, Rossum's Universal Robots. RUR takes place in a factory on a private island where an inventor named Rossum has learned how to create artificial humans. These creations are called robots, a word made by Čapek's brother, coming from a word meaning forced labor. This word had deep meaning for people who had recently lived under such systems. Harry, the human boss in the first scene, manages the factory. Robots are made on assembly lines and sent around the world to do simple work. Professor Jurers calls this the 3 Ds: dirty, dangerous, and dull jobs. It sounds like a great idea. Humans would not have to do hard work anymore. But these robots are not metal machines. They are made of artificial flesh. Harry describes factories where bones and nerves are created. These robots are biological, not made of metal parts. They look almost exactly like humans. They can think and act, but Harry says they do not have souls. They cannot feel pain. They are perfect workers. Like Sola, Harry's robot secretary, who is interrupted by Helena Glory, a young woman who enters his office. She is the daughter of the company president and supports robot rights. She asks Harry how he knows robots have no souls and says they deserve respect. But even Helena does not fully see them as human. She talks about how her town bought robots as street cleaners, then corrects herself and says hired, showing how people think of robots as objects. Helena does not succeed much. The company later gives robots the ability to feel pain, but only to protect them from damage, not because they care about them. Then the story jumps forward 10 years. The world has changed. Robots have replaced humans in many jobs. Without work, humans feel they have no purpose and stop having children. Some people try to limit robot production, but the company refuses. Robots are now necessary. They are even used as soldiers. Governments want more robots to fight wars. The company makes robots with different looks and languages so they can fight each other like humans do. Robots either work until they break or fight in wars. The ones that can feel pain begin to have a problem called robot cramp, which really means rebellion. A robot stops working and refuses to obey. A robot named Radius learns from books and decides humans are no longer needed. He says humans are weaker and less useful than robots. Radius escapes and leads a rebellion that destroys humanity. Cut. The final scene, the last human, a builder, talks to 2 robots, a man and a woman. He calls them Adam and Eve and tells them to go and live in the world. The robots leave together. The curtain closes. RUR becomes very popular. Audiences had never seen anything like it before, but critics gave mixed reviews. Some said it was too long and not very strong. Still, the idea spread quickly. The play reached the US, and soon it was shown on Broadway. This version changed the ending. Instead of robots walking away, 2 humans survive and find safety. The robots also changed in appearance. They looked stronger and less human. Over time, robots in plays became more machine-like, wearing metal clothing. This change influenced how people imagine robots today. The idea of machines acting like humans had existed before, but RUR made it famous. The early 1900s were a time of big change with factories and war machines. People were ready for stories about technology. The robots in RUR looked human and acted like humans, which made them more powerful as an idea. This idea continued in later works like the film Metropolis in 1927, which showed a robot leading a revolt. Over time, robots became a common idea in stories, often shown as dangerous. This continued until writer Isaac Asimov created a new idea. He wrote stories where robots followed rules. His 3 laws of robotics said robots cannot harm humans, must obey humans, and must protect themselves unless it breaks the first 2 rules. These ideas became very important, even in real science. Today, people still talk about these ideas when creating new technology. Science fiction has influenced real inventions, from satellites to robotic arms. But it has also caused problems when people believe ideas too quickly. One thing is clear: when Čapek created robots, he did not expect them to shape the future of technology. But more than 100 years later, his idea has become real, and in some ways, it has gone beyond his control.